China has spent years building the most advanced multi-layer pressure system ever aimed at one target, the U.S. aircraft carrier. Today, long-range precision tools, stealth platforms, and ultra-quiet submarines are reshaping how safe a carrier truly is near the Western Pacific. This video breaks down how China created this capability, why analysts call it a turning point, and what it reveals about the future of naval power. By the end, you'll understand why one word, vulnerability, has become central to this discussion. The first and most substantial layer of China's pressure system begins far inland, where its long-range precision tools are positioned to influence how carrier groups operate and how close they can safely approach regional waters. The central idea is simple: create a distance problem so large that carrier-launched aircraft struggle to operate effectively. This strategy revolves heavily around two specific systems often mentioned in defense circles: the DF-21D and the DF-26, both frequently described in open sources as carrier-oriented because of their range and guidance profiles. Meanwhile, the DF-21D operates at shorter distances but remains significant because of its maneuvering reentry capability. Together, these tools create a geographic challenge for any large vessel that depends on proximity to operate aircraft at full effectiveness. Evidence from U.S. defense reports, congressional testimony, and Indo-Pacific briefings confirms that such long-range systems are one of the leading factors driving updates to American naval planning. Analysts explain that pushing carriers outward forces them to depend on aerial refueling for fighter jet operations. Yet refueling aircraft are not stealthy and cannot easily withstand heavily monitored airspace. This creates a chain reaction. Once carriers are pushed back, aircraft lose reach, sorties decrease, and the carrier's influence zone becomes smaller than designed. The significance of this development is not that carriers suddenly lose value. They remain unmatched in flexibility and global presence. Instead, the importance lies in how the environment is shifting. The Pacific theater now contains precision systems capable of tracking large targets across long distances with increasing accuracy. This means carrier commanders must consider new standoff ranges, new flight patterns, and new support assets long before entering a contested zone. The second major layer adding pressure on large carrier groups comes from the sky, introduced through China's advancement of the J-35 stealth aircraft program. The J-35 represents a new generation of carrier-launched aviation, designed to operate with low radar visibility and advanced sensors comparable to modern fifth-generation jets. What makes this development particularly important is not merely the aircraft itself, but its ecosystem, a combination of data links, sensor fusion, and coordinated platforms that create broader situational awareness around critical regions. The J-35 is expected to serve roles that combine reconnaissance, tracking, and precision strike capability. Multiple defense analysts note that if the aircraft reaches its projected operational profile, it could help detect high-value assets like large carriers at extended ranges. This matters because tracking is the first step in any precision-guided system. Once a location is identified, other platforms, land-based or maritime, can receive targeting data and act accordingly. In this sense, the J-35 becomes a node inside a larger digital network rather than an isolated platform. Evidence for the J-35's expanding relevance is seen in satellite imagery of China's new Type 003 Fujian carrier, which features electromagnetic catapults capable of launching heavier, stealthier jets. These launch systems give the J-35 greater fuel and payload capacity compared to older short takeoff models, enabling longer missions and more complex payloads. As a result, a carrier group approaching contested waters could face a combination of long-range sensors, stealth aircraft, and network drones. The explanation for why this is transformative comes down to the concept of air superiority. For U.S. carriers to operate effectively, they rely on establishing a safe air envelope using aircraft like the F-35C and the E-2D Hawkeye. These platforms detect incoming aircraft early and intercept them before they get too close. However, the introduction of a stealthy platform like the J-35 complicates early detection, pushing U.S. air assets to work harder and earlier than before. This forces more sorties, more fuel, and more airborne presence to maintain control of the environment. The link to the broader narrative is clear. China's airborne capabilities are evolving into a system that restricts carrier freedom of operation. Combined with long-range precision tools, this creates a two-layer pressure structure, one from distance and another from the air. But the story isn't complete without understanding the silent challenge beneath the surface. The third layer of China's multi-domain pressure system comes from beneath the ocean's surface, where the People's Liberation Army Navy has expanded its fleet of modern submarines, particularly the Type 039 AB Yuan-class, which uses air-independent propulsion AIP. AIP technology allows submarines to operate for long periods without surfacing for air, dramatically reducing acoustic signatures and making them harder to detect through traditional sonar. The core point of this section is that these submarines can maneuver quietly into strategic positions where large vessels, including carriers, normally feel secure. Open-source assessments from defense institutes highlight that AIP submarines can stay underwater for weeks rather than days, giving them a persistence advantage that the U.S. Navy must constantly track through patrols, undersea sensors, and surveillance aircraft. The challenge is not that such submarines are unbeatable, but that they complicate planning by adding uncertainty beneath the surface. Evidence for their relevance grows each year as China expands its fleet and deploys more submarines with advanced sonar, guided torpedoes, and anti-ship tools. When combined with the geography of the region, narrow straits, long coastlines, and complex underwater terrain, these vessels gain additional cover to approach potential targets. This forces carrier strike groups to allocate destroyers, surveillance planes, and helicopters to constant underwater monitoring, increasing operational workload. A parallel development comes from the surface fleet, especially the emergence of the Type 055 destroyer. This vessel is equipped with vertical launch systems capable of deploying long-range cruise tools and reportedly hypersonic projectiles such as the YJ-21, which has been showcased in state television footage. The Type 055 adds a surface dimension to the challenge, extending China's engagement range and enabling coordinated targeting in combination with satellite networks and airborne sensors. This combination of submarines and advanced surface platforms forms a full maritime envelope around sensitive waters. For a carrier approaching the region, the underwater environment can no longer be assumed secure. Each submarine represents an unpredictable variable, while each modern destroyer extends the reach of the surface threat. The link to the overall theme is direct. China's underwater and surface capabilities complete the triple-layer structure: long-range tools, airborne detection, and undersea presence. Together, they reshape how carrier groups must navigate, operate, and prepare long before entering any contested space. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. See you there.